continue now at the top of Daf Yomi Aleph and Meseches Taanis. This is Taanis Daf 18a. The Gemara in the previous Amud was talking about the holidays of Megillas Taanis, and one of the holidays of Megillas Taanis is when they refuted the Tzedukim in terms of the holiday of Shavuos, and they said that holiday runs through Pesach. So the Gemara asked, why do we have to mention Pesach? Pesach's a holiday in and of itself. Why does it have to be a holiday in the Megillas Taanis? Because they refuted the Tzedukim. Anyhow, it has the status of a Yontif. And so the Gemara says, no, we can give the same answer here that we gave in terms of the Yontif that was established for the fact that they were able to establish the carbon Talmud. They were able to refute the Tzedukim with regards to the carbon Talmud as well. So over there we said, like Rav said, Eloles or Yom Shalafanav. We said that the reason why we wanted to mention them in Megillas Taanis was because to say that even the day before is also Asr. The halacha is that the Yomim Tovim that are mentioned in Megillas Taanis, so the day before also becomes Asr in terms of you're not allowed to fast or you're not allowed to eulogize. So Hachanami, so here also the same idea, Lo Nitzracha Eloles or Yom Shalacharav. The reason why we want to say that this Yom Tov in Megillas Taanis goes through Pesach is because Pesach itself, the day after Pesach, wouldn't be Asr. But if it's a day in Megillas Taanis, the day afterwards is also Asr. So the Gemara says, one second, come on, who does that follow? Rabbi Yossi, that follows Rabbi Yossi's opinion. Amar bein lefanav bein la'acharav asr. That follows Rabbi Yossi's opinion that all the days in Megillas Taanis, whether it's before the day before them or the day after, is also asr. Not everybody agrees with Rabbi Yossi. But the Gemara says, if so, be esrim v'tishanami, when it comes to the 29th as well. So we said the 29th of Adar is asr because it's a day before this day that's in Megillas Taanis. But ma'irya to have a yoma demekame yoma demitokam tamida. Why do you have to say that the reason why it's forbidden on those days, the reason why those are days of celebration, is because it's the day before the days that they established the carbon Talmud? Why do you have to say that? Typically, the Havale Yom Debasar Esrin Utmanya Bay. For following Rabbi Yossi, it follows another day in Megillas Taanis. The 28th is also a celebratory day in Megillas Taanis, and the 29th of Adar follows the 28th of Adar. As the Gemara says, the Tanya, as we learned in a Brisa, Be'esrim Utmanya Bay, on the 28th of Adar, Asus Besurta Tavsal Yehudai, there was good news for the Jews. Delo Yeidun Minoraisa, they would not be prevented from learning the Torah. Shapamachas Nigzur Gezer al Yisrael, because there was one time where there was a decree made against Klal Yisrael, Shelo Yasku b'Torah, that they shouldn't learn Torah, v'Shelo Yemolu es B'neihem, they shouldn't give bris milah, v'Sheichalu Shabbos, and that they have to be Mechal Shabbos. So Ma Osta Yehuda ben Shamua v'Chaveirav. So what did Yehuda ben Shamua and his friends and his colleagues do? Halchu v'Notlu Eitzam Mimatronisa Achas. So they went and they took advice from a particular noblewoman. Shekol Gedolei Rome Mitzuyan Etzla. She was frequent among the great people of Rome, so she knew the proper advice to give. The Brisa continues. Amro Lahem. She said to them the following: Imdu v'Hifginu B'Layla. Go out and scream out in the middle of the night. And that's what they did. Halchu v'Hifginu B'Layla. They went and they screamed in the middle of the night. Amru, and they said as follows: Ei Shamayim lo achem anachnu. They said, by heaven, aren't we your brothers? Lo b'nei avechad anachnu. Aren't we all the children of one father? Lo b'nei emachas anachnu. Aren't we all the children of one mother? Ma nishtaninu mikol umma v'losh. And why is it that we're different than every other nation? She'atem gozrin aleinu gezeros ros. That you're making these bad decrees upon us, uvitlim. And then those decrees were nullified. V'yosu hayom asu yontiv. And that day, again, that's the 28th of Adar, they made it a yontiv. So what do you have to say that the 29th is the day before Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and that's why it's considered a day where you're not allowed to fast, so you're not allowed to have eulogies? The same thing should be true the fact that it's the day after the 28th if we're following Rabbi Yossi. And so the Gemara says, Amar Abaya says, Lo nitzrucha ela l'chodesh me'uber. No, the reason why it's needed is that it's not true. You could have a situation where it's a chodesh me'uber, where it's going to be a leap month, and in that case, the month is actually going to be 30 days. So now the 30th day is not the day after the 28th, but the 30th day is the day before Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and that's why we said, since it's the day before, one of the days in Megillas Taanis, it also has this status, again, not supposed to fast, not supposed to eulogize. But the Gemara says, Ravashi says, I can give another answer. We can even say that even when it comes to a situation where Adar is chaser, where Adar is only 29 days, so even in such a situation, still you need to say that it's the day before Rosh Chodesh Nisan. It wouldn't suffice to be the day after. Why? Because the halacha is kol shala acharav, anytime the day follows a day in Megillas Taanis. So betainis aser, so it is a problem to fast on those days, meaning the day after, but behespid mutter. But actually the truth is, when it comes to eulogies, it's still mutter. We're not so strict when it comes to eulogies on the day after. But this particular day, since this day, this 29th of Adar, it's between the 28th of Adar, which is a Yom Tov, and it's right before, again, it's also between the Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So asa'u ki Yom Tov atzmo. So therefore that day gets treated like the Yom Tov itself, ve'afilu behesped nami yasser. And that's why even in eulogies, that day is going to be forbidden to have eulogies. We'll take a look at Rashi over here. Eishamayim garsinon aha Hashem. Rashi says Eishamayim means they're saying woe and they're crying out to God. LaHaKadosh Baruch Hu hayutzoakim. To HaKadosh Baruch Hu they screamed out al osam shagazru aleim gezeros kashos, against those who made these bad decrees against them, these harsh decrees. V'hayu omrim lahem lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And they said to them in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'chilo achechem v'chulu. That's what they were screaming out. And again, therefore the decrees became nullified, so it became a day of celebration. And the Gemara continues, Amar Mar, the master said, quoting what we said previously, Mitamanyu Abei v'at sof ma'ad, again from the 8th of Nisan until the end of the holiday of Pesach, Itozav Chagad de Shavuaya, so they refuted the Tzedukim in terms of the holiday of Shavuos. Again, the Tzedukim said that the holiday of Shavuos should always fall on a Sunday, and they were refuted by the Chachamim, the Lola Misbat, so therefore, since they're days of celebration, we shouldn't have eulogies on these days. So Lamali Lameimar Mitmanya Bey. So the Gemara now asks, why do you have to say from the 8th? Lema Mitisha Bey. Let's just say from the 9th. Utmanya Gufeya. So we already know that on the 8th day it's already considered a day of celebration. The Havila Yomadi Token Beit Tamida, because again that was one of the days where the Korban Tamid was established. That was one of the other celebratory days in Megillas Taanis. And so the Gemara answers simply, so since it's possible, let's say something happens, and for whatever reason they nullify those days, they nullify these 7 days of celebration of the Korban Tamid, so Tamanya Gufei Aser, but the 8th day is still going to be Aser, because it's going to be the first day of those set of days where they refuted the Tzedukim in terms of the Chag of Shavuos. In other words, it's possible those first 8 days might lose their status as days of celebration, and so therefore we want to say that from the 8th until the end of Pesach, that's a separate holiday. That's a holiday because again, there was a refuting in terms of the Chag of Shavuos. And the Gemara says, once you answer this, so Esrim v'tishanami, when it comes to what we just asked above, about the 29th of Adar, we can say very simply, we said that the 29th should also be a day where you're not allowed to fast because it follows the 28th. So what do you need to say? It's the day before Rosh Chodesh Nisan, say that it follows the 28th. But again, something might happen and the 28th might be nullified. So Esrim v'tisha gufei aser, but still the 29th would be aser, the Havila Yoma, the Mekame Yomadi Tokam Tamida, because it's the day before that first day where the Korban Tamid was established. Again, that day was Rosh Chodesh Nisan. That's when this Korban Tamid, that was the first day of the set of days of that celebration, and the 29th is the day before, the 29th of Adar, so that's why that would also be Aser in that case. It would also be a day of celebration. And the Gemara continues, Itmar, we have the following Machlokas Amoroim, Rav Chia bar Asi Amar Rav. Rav Chia bar Asi says in the name of Rav, Halacha ki Rabbi Yossi, the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. Rashi over here says, ki Rabbi Yossi damar bein lefan of bein la'achrav aser. If you have a day, let's say that it's forbidden to eulogize, so the day before that and the day after that is also going to be aser. So that's what he's saying over here. Rav is saying over here, the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. U'Shmuel amar halacha ki Rabbi Meir. And Shmuel says the halacha is like Rabbi Meir. Rashi over here says Rabbi Meir stam masnisin. It doesn't say Rabbi Meir's name in the Mishnah, but the stam Mishnah is Rabbi Meir. The katani la'achrav mutter. In Rabbi Meir's opinion, the day after this day, let's say again the day where you're not allowed to eulogize, the day after is still going to be mutter. So it's a machlokas amorim what we paskin in this regard. Gemara says, Umi Amar Shmuel Hachi, but does Shmuel really say this? Does Shmuel really say the halacha is like Rabbi Meir? V'atanya, but we learned in a brayso. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Lomer, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says, Umat Hamad Lomar Bahon Shtei Po'amim. Why does it say Bahon 2 times? Rashi over here says, Mat Hamad Lomar Bahon. It says, Delolihis Ana Bahon. These are days that you can't fast on these days. Umiksason, in some of these days, Delola Misbad Bahon. You're not even allowed to eulogize on these days. V'kadarish Lekedadayik Lekamon Bahon Mashma Miyat. So saying that bahon, that 2 times, it's mashma, some kind of exclusion. What does this word come to exclude? And so the Brisa says, Lomar loch, you know why it says bahon 2 times? It's to tell you, shehein asurin, that these days themselves are asur, but lifnein olacharein mutarin, before them and after them is mutter. In other words, Rav Shimon Gamliel holds both before and after these days is going to be mutter. V'yomar Shmuel, and Shmuel said on that, halacha Rav Shimon Gamliel, the halacha is like Rav Shimon Gamliel. That's a direct contradiction to what Shmuel is saying over here. The halacha is like Rabbi Meir. Again, Rabbi Meir says that before is asur and after is mutter, but here he seems to be saying, Rav Shimon Gamliel says, before and after are mutter, and Shmuel's paskening like Rav Shimon Gamliel. And so the Gemara says, no, the idea is as follows. Meikara originally, Savar, so Shmuel held, came into Leka Tana to Mekel Rabbi Meir. There's no Tana that's as lenient as Rabbi Meir. Amar Halacha Rabbi Meir. He said the Halacha is like Rabbi Meir, because that was the most lenient opinion. Came into Shami Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, but then when he heard of Shimon Gamliel, the Mekel Tfei was even more lenient, who says before and after is going to be mutter. So Amar Halacha Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Then he said that the Halacha is actually like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. In other words, in general, Shmuel held that we should follow the most lenient opinion. Rashi over here says, Halacha Rabbi Shimon, the idea is it's all midrabanan, v'lo mechamrinan kulihai. We're not going to be so machmir. That's why he felt we should always be lenient. And the Gemara continues, V'chein amar Bali, amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba, amar Rabbi Yochanan. Similarly says Bali in the name of Rabbi Chia bar Abba, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Halacha Rabbi Yossi. The halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, meaning similarly, the same way that Rav passing like Rabbi Yossi. So also he said the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. So amar le Rabbi Chia le Bali. So Rabbi Chia said to Bali, Asabra loch. I want to explain to you the following. Ki amar Rabbi Yochanan halacha Rabbi Yossi. When Rabbi Yochanan said that the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, that before and after is going to be aser, adelo lehisano. It's only going on the case, it's only going on the halacha that you're not allowed to fast. Rashi over here says, Hachi garsinan ki amar Rabbi Yochanan halacha adelo lehisano. Di yomim haksub Megillas Taanis delo lehisano. We're going on the days in Megillas Taanis where it says not to fast. So lifneim asurim. So then we say before them is aser. Ula'achar of mutarin, and afterwards is mutar. On those days, that's Rabbi Yossi v'lo Rabbi Meir. That's where we follow Rabbi Yossi and not Rabbi Meir. And Rabbi Meir said, Damar af lifneim mutar, because Rabbi Meir said on the days which are not allowed to fast, it's even lifneim. Both sides are mutar. Aval adelo lemispad, but on the days which are so strict that you're not even allowed to have eulogies, ein halacha Rabbi Yossi. There he would not say the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. Damar lefanav uliachrav aser, who says it's aser both the day before and after. Elek Rabbi Meir, there he'd follow the more lenient opinion like Rabbi Meir. Damar lefanav aser la'achrav mutar, who says lefanav it's going to be aser before the day it's aser, and after the day it's going to be mutar. In other words, this comment over here of Rabbi Yochanan that the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi is not on all the days in Megillas Taanis. It's only going on the days in which it's prohibited to fast on those days. And so the Gemara says, one second, to miyamar Rabbi Yochanan hachi. Does Rabbi Yochanan really say that? V'yo'amar Rabbi Yochanan halacha kestam mishnah. In general, we know Rabbi Yochanan holds that halacha is like the stam mishnah. Rashi over here says, Umiyamar Rabbi Yochanan hachi de lefanov miyo asur Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yochanan seems to be saying the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, that lefanov is going to be asur. Again, talking about the days where you're not allowed to fast, so lefanov is going to be asur according to Rabbi Yossi. However, Rabbi Yochanan says also that the halacha is like a stam mishnah. Utznan, and we learned in the mishnah, this is talking about the reading of the Megillah Esther. The Gra takes out the words v'lo ma'achrin, but the Mishnah means to say that you're allowed to read it. You can read it a little earlier than the day of Purim. You can read the Megillah. Makdimin shakaru kodem zmana. They can read the Megillah a little earlier. And we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Yud Ches Amud Beis.